welcome to the 411 Mamas. It's me, Rachel, here to talk about your freezer and how your freezer can be your friend. Now, I don't have a huge refrigerator. It is one of those top-bottom things, and our freezer is on the bottom, so it's not huge by any stretch of the imagination. However, I am pretty selective about the things that I put in there. It helps in budgeting, because if I don't have room in the freezer, I don't just buy whatever. But the things that I do select are things that obviously are prepackaged and ready for the freezer, but there are things that you normally don't think about to go in the freezer, but that can definitely help with your meal planning and helping to stretch your budget a little bit further. So without further ado, here are my five for the freezer, 5 things that you can use in your freezer to help your budget stretch a little further and to help in meal planning. So the first thing is cheese. You can freeze cheese, and when cheese is on sale, sometimes you can get a pretty good deal. You get the big block, and all you have to do is pre-grate it and then stick it in the freezer. One thing to keep in mind, however, is that if you plan to eat the cheese, like slice it and just eat it plain as is, after you do freeze it, it becomes a little crumbly, so the texture does change. That is something to keep in mind. I would use this, use cheese from the freezer for DIY pizzas, or in some application of a menu where you are going to be melting it or like adding it as a topping in casseroles, those kinds of things. So I think those would be the most successful use of the frozen cheese. But cheese is definitely a go-to. Buy it when it's on sale, grate it, freeze it, and save money. The next thing I always buy on sale and stick in the freezer is butter. Butter is great, but it's also kind of expensive when it's not on sale. So when it's on sale, buy a lot of it if you have room, and account for how much room you do have in the freezer, because you don't want to not have room for those things you absolutely need to freeze. Butter is awesome in the freezer. You just take it out of the freezer when you're ready to use some. Make sure you thaw it in the refrigerator overnight. But as you notice your regular butter supply dwindling, pull a box out, stick it in the refrigerator, and then by the time you're done with that, you know, the rest of the butter that you're using, the new sticks of butter will be ready to go. So butter, definitely recommend. Buy it in bulk and stick it in your freezer. The third thing I'd like to point out that you can freeze, and I actually didn't know this until just fairly recently, is pasta. And it totally makes so much sense to freeze your pasta. Pre-cooked pasta. They sell it at the stores. You know, you can, a lot of these pre-packaged frozen meals have pasta in it. So yeah, why not do it yourself and save a little bit of money? Or when I have leftovers, I'll stick it in a Ziploc bag, you know, make sure it's cool, stick it in a Ziploc bag, and then stick it in your freezer and use it for the next time you need pasta. It's great because it's even quicker to cook the second time because it's already pre-cooked. All you need to do is stick it in some boiling water for like 15 to 30 seconds or so, just depending on the shape of the pasta that you have and how cooked you like it. When I cook it al dente, it's pretty much ready to go. Stick it in boiling water for 15 to 30 seconds and you're good to go. So pasta is definitely something great that you can do. Along the same lines as rice. We cook rice on occasion, but when I cook it, I usually cook more than we need. Stick in a Ziploc bag, you know, kind of make sure you take all the air out as you do these kinds of freezing, and stick it in your freezer. When you are ready to use it, take it out of the freezer, just defrost it if in your microwave if you want to, or just let it sit out for just, you know, a couple of minutes until it starts to melt away from the plastic. Sometimes it can stick to the plastic. And then just stick it in the microwave for the rest of the time so that you can warm it up and eat it with the rest of your meal. So pasta and rice, give it a go, stick it in your freezer, and help yourself out with some meal planning. Spinach and leafy greens. Now, you guys are probably drinking your green smoothies and making them every morning and enjoying them with your family. So I encourage you to buy your spinach, freeze it, So it's ready to go. It's a little bit cold already, and it makes it last a little bit longer. This is something that you can also do with spinach maybe that's starting to go a little bad, or you've had it for a little while and you don't know when you're going to be able to use it. Stick it in your freezer. Put it in a Ziploc bag, take all of the air out, and then stick it in your freezer, and then you can pull it out when you're ready to use it in, say, a dish. You're going to saute something, maybe spinach with some garlic, or if you want to make a smoothie, pull it out and then stick it in your blender with the rest of your smoothie ingredients. You can do it straight from those little tubs if you want to. A couple ways that I've read that you can also do this, and I haven't done it myself, I just use it straight out of the container, is you can blend it up with water already and then maybe put them in little ice cube trays, and then you can stick those in your smoothies, which is great. So you can do it in the ice cube trays. Once those are frozen, take them out and put them in a Ziploc bag and you're ready to go for like little tiny things. So spinach, yeah, spinach and leafy greens, try it out and see how it works for you. And that way you have a little bit more time playing with those precious produce, all that precious produce that goes bad really quickly. Lastly, in general, freezer leftovers. If you are going through a jar of pizza sauce and you only use half of it, you don't know when you're going to use pizza sauce again, and you're afraid that it might go bad, go ahead and stick it in a tiny, freezer bag and put the date on it, write down what it is, and stick it in your freezer. And that way you can just use it the next time and not worry about it having gone bad in the refrigerator with, mold growing in the jar, because, it's all happened to us. So that kind of thing, tomato paste, if you're using it for a recipe and you can't finish it, put it in a little ice cube tray, freeze that, and stick it in a baggie, and then you won't have to worry about that going bad. The freezer is totally your friend. It's there to help sort of preserve things for the time being until you can get to them. And with our busy lifestyles, all of us doing various different things, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a working mom, whatever it is, we don't have enough time for anything. So the freezer will help prolong that a little bit. So take advantage of it. Make the most of it. Don't just buy the prepackaged stuff. Use it to your advantage. And yeah, so I hope these tips were helpful for you. And we will see you next time on the 411 Mamas. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week. Bye.